budgies. It's quite a remarkable jacket that gentleman's wearing. He's also wearing a t-shirt with Russian letters on it saying "Если хочешь меня улыбнись," which is "if you want me, smile." That could lead to all sorts of interesting situations. You know, somebody could just be smiling because they were in a perfectly good mood, and then this guy would sort of like come along and give them a big hug or something, and they might be quite alarmed by it. Although a hug isn't the worst you can do, of course. There's a swimming pool. I wonder if there's any animals in that. Somebody's being regurgitated by a hippopotamus over there. Well, it's very clean. It's really too clean to have animals in it, but there's a duck managing to populate it a little bit anyway. You've got your geese and they're waiting to go on this little children's train. There's rabbits in the middle and that. So there's your children's zoo. That's all extra, of course. This seems to be a restaurant. Yeah. Restauratio Gaston. So we've got nicely planted bamboo out here, which seems to manage quite well with the climate because it's on the outside. This is on the way into this Sichuan, a pavilion of birds from the foothills. Oh, that's the exit. Okay, well, bear with me. I don't know whether these are from the foothills of the Himalayas, the mallards. But, nice the way the bamboo is composed into this architecture. You've got the water coming out there, filling this pond, which has goldfish in it, probably from the foothills of the Himalayas too. And then it goes across, winding its way across this kind of path, causing trouble for anybody trying to push their pram over there without waking their kid up, and goes down to another pond down there. So it's interesting. It would be actually interesting to actually follow the whole hydrography, I don't know what the word is, anyway, limnology or whatever, the whole way in which the water moves through Prague Zoo. That in itself would be quite an interesting thing to follow one day. I don't know. I don't suppose it'll be me doing it, but you've got these little hidey holes that you might see an animal in or you might not. And in this case I don't think we are seeing one. Or are we? Oh yes, there is. It's a porcupine, isn't it? I have to get right up to it. Can you see a porcupine in there? I think I can. Okay, surprise, surprise. Not very visible though. So, Sichuan, pavilion of birds from the foothills of the Himalayas. The bamboo derriere, something getting out again. And here we are. That's a Manchurian nut, isn't it? I remember seeing them in East Asia. So that's where the waterfall starts. And if you want to see the birds, then I think the idea is generally to look up. Although some of them, of course, are on the ground. Reminds me of Belgium. That's holly, which as far as Europe's concerned doesn't grow east of Berlin. At least not in northern Europe. It's obviously growing here, but then here's indoors, isn't it? So here I'm at the exit again. I'm very close to the exit. Surprisingly close. When you look on the map it doesn't look so close, but it's actually surprisingly close. It's the bottom of the railway, the Lanovka. This thing just going round and round, taking people up and down so that they don't have to walk up that scarp, which I think is probably a good idea. That would take a lot of people's energy. So whether you actually have to pay extra to go on this, I have no idea. You didn't have to pay extra to go to the toilets, which I thought was very fair, because it'd be easy enough to catch people on that one. People, obviously, it wouldn't give people a nice feeling that they'd been caught on it, and they've decided, I suppose, not to do it. But they've made a point. They've put up a little sign saying the toilets are free. So that also has the added advantage of not letting anybody stand there pretending to be the person collecting money, because they would immediately get caught out if they did. So, little monkeys. Something's making a noise in there. Ow, ow, I don't know what's saying that. You can't see it, but you can hear it. All the people just taking photos won't have had any record of that at all. Probably just a moorhen though. So these monkeys are all over the place on those trees, but they're very small though, I don't know if you can see them properly. And so there's the Lanovka going up. Lanovka Dracha. To see whether it costs anything. Oh, tickets, yes. So it does cost you something to get up that. Things are closer together in this zoo than you realise. When you look on the map it's sort of thematic, but it shows it more spaced out, and it isn't really that spaced out. So it's 20 crowns, which isn't much. So it's not like you can say that things around here are too expensive. Even, you know, the price of the water, it's not inflated. You have to say it's the same price. You'd pay an awful lot more at the airport, for example. Yorkie. So this is the pavilion of giant tortoises. So this is Darwin, here we go. The zookeepers have got their own bicycles to ride around on to get from place to place more quickly. Oh! 13:30 every Saturday, the feeding of the dragons. So I don't know if that's here, but it's Saturday. It's not. It's Sunday. I was going to come on Saturday, but it's Sunday, so it wouldn't make any difference. We won't see them anyway. Right. Spiny lizard. I don't know what they call that. Armadillo girdled lizard. But it's not, it's a tortoise. So what you actually, oh, here's one. You can see the tail coming down there. Lots of aloe vera. That looked like a, not entirely sure what it looked like, but I think that was a fruit bat. Yes. If you can see that. So you've got fruit bats flying around in there. And these which is good because they'll fly during the day, unlike most bats which prefer to be nocturnal. You can see it hanging up there now. And there's the giant tortoises. So that's very nice. So you've got the giant tortoises laying into some lettuces there. Big lettuces, they're just munching away. That was a flying fox again going by. Nice hibiscus planted out in the middle there. The planting is very good here, I have to say. It's really... That's a way bridge, and when the tortoises go over it, they get weighed on here. It's weighing, I don't know what now, because there's no tortoise on it, but still the figures are moving. Just from the pressure of air as the fruit bats go by, the flying foxes. So there we go. Kaloň is the obviously the name for flying fox in Czech. Where on earth they get it from, as ever, I have no idea. Those were Seychelles giant tortoises, not the Darwinian ones, which are obviously from Galapagos, but they're not greatly different, I shouldn't think. So here again, another display, this time using the natural shape of the bluff here. Sacred ibises. An awful lot of Russian being spoken around, and the Russians, you can always tell, they always talk at each other at the top of their voices. They're the old world equivalent of the Americans. Presumably at one time you could walk around in there and take a picnic, but whether you can now is another matter. Well, maybe you can. Well, this would be very nice to be in there, I think. Imagine sitting in amongst all these ibises and what have you and doing your gold list. This is nice. Oh, I appreciate this. With the old thingy above, and it's better than Snowdon's thingy, I think. Hey, how you feeling? This is the same kind of arrangement as with the cranes and that as you've got in the Snowdon's aviary in London Zoo. If you want to see that, then just search Usenet Post's London Zoo, and I think it's in the second or third part of it. I think I did 2 or 3 parts of that, just as I'll have to divide this into parts. But you can... oh, here we go. So it's coming for me. But you can see them anyway. And it's really very nice to be here with nothing, no bars between me and these beautiful large birds. Actually nobody, particularly since I came in here, there's nobody else in here. So even though there are parts of this which are really crowded, you know, it's easy for the crowd to overlook jewels like this aviary. Oh, I hope you didn't see that. I hope that didn't come out onto the screen. That sacred ibis did a sacred poo while I was watching it, which is not, rather takes the sheen off it a little bit. It's absolutely beautiful. I really like that. Bit of a highlight, that one. That and that even more so than the. This is my best bit so far, my favourite bit so far, I should say. There's netting all over the rocks as well to make sure they don't fall down off that bluff. Lovely.